My name is Carney, and this is my persuasive presentation my presentation is about how single-sex education schools are better than co-educational schools. Nowadays, most people around my age think, why go to an all-girls school or boys' school when you go to school with everybody else? People think of it as a social aspect of it. But honestly, academically and socially, single ed is the way to go. The quality of education, the decrease of social pressures, and the differences of brain pattern and classroom behavior make single ed schools better than co-educational schools. Journalist Brian Easton and his website eastbh.ac.nc researched that single ed schools attain a higher exam rate than co-educational schools. In 2002, the NCEA testing scores showed that in co-ed schools, the boys scored 21.4% in their percentile, and the single ed boys scored a mean of 41.5%. In the co-ed girls, they scored a 25.5% for their mean, and for the single ed girls school, their mean was 40.4% for their percentile. This shows that single boys and single girls schools did better at state testing than the co-ed schools. The reasons could be: 1, there's higher funding to single ed schools, which gives them the things they need to enhance a student's education. 2, the social intakes in a student's life can impact an education as a distraction. And 3, also, since the single ed educational schools are more accredited institutions, they have higher qualified teachers to cover the curriculum. If we go back to point number 2, which was the social distraction, what could be so distraction that could affect a student's education? In a typical student, social pressures sometimes takes precedence over the importance of education. These social pressures could be dating, popularity, or even the influence of drugs. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, in an article called Project Arms, Students to Handle Social Pressures, students at West Mifflin Area High School participated in a truth booth to reveal those truths about social stigma and the pressures of fitting in. One wrote, "I feel awkward in public," who at the time was dealing with self-harm. Now, how are these situations different between co-ed and single ed schools? Especially for girls, they face sexual pressures in co-ed schools. Once girls go through puberty and look like women, the boys start to experience and discover their sexuality. While boys feel pressure to lose their virginity, girls feel pressure to keep it and usually regret having intercourse. In our country, 35% of teens became pregnant at least once before the age of 20, and 78% of teenage pregnancies are unintended. This is all according to the 2004 report from the U.S. Congress Pro-Choice Caucus. Do these pressures have anything to do with the development of brain function that contribute to social behavior? We have all heard the expression, girls are more mature than boys, or girls are more intelligent than boys. It's true, actually. Before puberty is finished, girls are more intelligent than boys. I'm about to show you a graph that was contained from the National Child Development Study in the United Kingdom. The NCDS contains a population of all babies born in Great Britain in 1 week in March 1958. They have then followed them throughout their life. They measured intelligence at age 7 and 11, which is before and during puberty, and then they measured it at 16, which is typically the end of puberty. If we take a look at age 7, as you can see, the pink is the girls and the blue is the boys. You can notice a slight difference between the IQs, thus showing a higher IQ. At age 7, these girls' IQs mean was 100.6. For boys, it was 99.4. Then their IQs were tested again at age 11. Same thing, girls were higher than boys. The girls were at 100.4, so it decreased 0.2, and the boys were then, the mean for the boys was 99.6, which that means they increased 0.2. Then the sex difference is reversed at age 16. as you can see the difference, the boys are higher than the girls. Post-puberty, the mean IQ for girls is 99.2, so they decreased about a whole point, while the mean IQ for boys is 100.8, and then they increased about a whole point. This shows that even girls develop faster mentally than boys eventually catch up with their IQ level. According to education.com, a boy's brain shuts off more times per day than a girl's brain. This results in boys and girls generally having different approaches to paying attention, visioning their future, completing a task, de-stressing, feeling emotions, relating to others, becoming bored, and even having basic conversations. With this information, it can be easily concluded that single-ed schools are better than co-ed schools. In single-ed, the education and the rate of pace it goes at can rely on the rate of information a girl or boy can intake. In co-ed schools, there has to be a compromise between the two. They can't focus on one person or the other person. They can't focus on a gender or different genders. They have to focus on trying to find a way to reach out all boys and girls and try to teach them at the same time. An all-girls school can meet a girl's intellectual need, which, since as proven, girls have learned faster and can retain information faster. They can go at that level of pace, where at an all-boys school they can go at a much slower pace, and they can meet their intellectual need. After learning this information, I would put my own child in a single-ed school. I want my child to succeed in life, whether it be avoiding teen pregnancy and other social pressures, and giving them the highest quality of education. I want them to live a life without struggles. Although there will be bumps along the way, the best way to succeed would be going through a single-ed school to meet their educational needs. Isn't that what any parent wants, to make sure they succeed in life?